Today I heard that they are still pushing forward with renaming Gladstone Park into Diane Abbott Park or Liberation Park or Zelensky Park or Slava Ukraina. As to see, this is in Brent, northwest London. Brent's a very, very, very Black Lives Matter kind of area. The people in there are self-hating black liberals walking around with self-hating white liberals. I still can't understand why these blacks are still crying about this stuff that happened 400 years ago, whilst they're not even saying anything that's happening right now in Libya, right now in Somalia, right now in the Middle East. Slavery is still happening, but they're not wanting to talk about that. Instead, they want to talk about stuff of 400 years ago. And because they're so dumb and indoctrinated, these blacks, you say to them, oh, hang on a minute, wasn't it other blacks selling the slaves to the white Europeans to make a buck of their own? Literally, they sold their nation. They sold their people. So they're the ultimate sellouts. Anyway, when you try and say that to them, what they always turn around and say is, well, if the white people didn't buy the slaves, nobody would sell them. This is like saying to someone who's been raped, if you didn't go out there, you wouldn't have got raped. Or if you didn't take the drugs and you wasn't addicted to the drugs, the guy couldn't sell the drugs. Hang on a minute, you're blaming the victims rather than those who are supplying it, doing it, or selling it. This is why I say most blacks of that ideology are stupid, literally stupid. Anyway, how did they get to Diane Abbott Park? Actually, let's rename Brent to Black Lives Matter Brent. So, Black Lives Matter Brent Council have decided this. So they went to school children 5 years old to 13 years old. They taught them beforehand an intense critical race theory week-long course. Then they got a expert into the George Floyd murder. But that expert, I guarantee you wouldn't have said that the guy was a criminal, the guy was a drug addict, and no one really cares that George Floyd died. Only the self-hating white liberals who want to go and enslave black people again under the guise of Black Lives Matter. I bet he didn't say that to the children anyway. So with the critical race theory and the indoctrination of George Floyd, then they said to him, look, we're going to have a vote. What we're going to rename this park? And they decided to rename it Diane Abbott Park, Diversity Park, anything else. But I guarantee as well, they're not going to even think about saying Together United or Black White Unite. I'm going to have to go to the council and see if they want to even entertain renaming the tree to the Black White Unite tree and leaving the park as Gladstone Park, because he had a very, very, very important role in UK politics. He was there for 60 years. He served 12 years as Prime Minister over 4 terms. He served as the Chancellor of the Exchequer. He had top level jobs. He brought in equality of opportunity, that type of thinking. Everyone should have the same quality. It's only when the Marxists and the communists and the self-hating white liberals came in and they decided to say, hang on a minute, we want equity of outcome, not of opportunity, because we don't really want people to work. We just want them to have nice shit at the end of the day. Because under a communist society, nobody can rise up as one. You have to rise up together. This Prime Minister, 4 terms, 12 years, 2 served as the Chancellor. He wasn't a slaver, but his father was the biggest slaver of the West Indies. But hang on a minute, that's not him. And what Gladstone did was say, do you know what? Don't agree with what my father's doing, so we're going to start abolishing it. He said, it's not illegal at the moment, mate. We can't criminalise it. And Gladstone was like, do you know what? Persuasion is much better. If we can persuade the people to let the men go, and we'll pay them off, which I think is a fair thing. This is what we're fighting for right now. It's not illegal for me to walk into a shop without a mask on, but they're trying to enforce it to me. They're trying to tell me it is illegal. So we've got to think about it in that instance. They paid them off. Slaves were free. Before that, Gladstone was like, this isn't happening immediately, so what we need to do is make sure they have a better quality of life whilst they are enslaved. And that's what he did. This is something Black Lives Matter should be rejoicing of. But no, it's like Blacks are scared of whites. They're saying they want to regain their power, but what they're doing is by highlighting this rubbish, it shows the insecurity of a normal black man. The problem is there's no men in the household as a father figure to teach them, fix up, pull your socks up and go out. What you've got is you've got mothers trying to play men, which they shouldn't because it's not natural. Raising kids with no father and all they're going to school is getting indoctrinated by critical race theory. They grow up to be a little Marxist activist and then they join people like the Black Reformists or Black Lives Matter and then they start meddling with history. The white politicians in power, how about erasing black history from the UK? You fight, we fight. How about you take down Nelson Mandela statue? How about you change the parks in Brixton? Change black parks to white names and see the uprising you get. That's what should be doing. That's what we should do as a consensus. I'm pretty damn sure. Then we'll show the blacks how stupid and dumb they are. There's another thing though. William Gladstone said this.
Be peace on this earth so long as we have this book. It's a violent and cursed book. That's
Can
I tell you who said that? Can I tell you who said that? Sir William Gladstone said that.
Do that
Sir William Gladstone
would you do that with the Bible?
About Islam and about the Quran, which he's 100% right about. Either way, when we look at it, it's either Muslims, blacks, South-hating white liberals trying to get away with ruining our country, taking away our history. This is where we have to fight back. And this is where we will fight back. Let me just tell you about one other person who's quite close to me. They're trying to take down a street in Liverpool called Roscoe Street. Yeah, you heard it right. Nobody knows about William Roscoe. Who is he? Essentially, he's a person who started from humble beginnings and ended up in the Houses of Parliament. But nobody really knows about this history. Nobody even talks about it. He left school at the age of 12 when he told the schoolmaster, there's nothing more you can teach me. His dad was a gardener. He became an historian, an art collector, a lawyer, a banker in his life with no common qualifications. And then in 1807, as a member of parliament, he supported the government in the act to abolish slavery. But again, a lot of these people, you understand, they end up bankrupt. Now, some history podcasts, because a lot of these things are important to learn from, and a lot of people don't understand or know about these. And I want to understand myself, if there was cancel culture back then, if we're not learning from that now, we are falling into the same traps, and we need to make sure to our future that we tell them about how to avoid this stuff, because we know it's a cycle. So I will be doing a couple of historical podcasts. It'll break it up a little bit, it breaks up the mood. But these people are having their street names, their parks, their statues taken down. The black reformists are the ones behind it, with people like Sadiq Khan, weak-ass people, even Boris Johnson. I don't trust him anymore. So it's down to us to make sure that we stop it, and we stop it from happening. And once I get some more information, we will be doing something at the park. We will be going up to Liverpool and seeing Roscoe Street and Falconer Street and all the other ones that they want to get rid of. They might want to try and remove our history, but we're British. Our legacy, our history, and our motivation, it will always continue, because we won't give up. Thanks for listening.